Hi, what we're offering here is an ArchiCAD GDL clean opening object. So this is an object that forms an opening in a wall, generally used for existing buildings, so survey buildings. This is how I would normally represent an existing wall in a building. And let's say there is an existing opening in that window, in that wall. So let's say it's a clean opening that's already existing. This is my object, internal new opening. I'm happy with those parameters. So if I place that object here, it forms exactly what I would want to see if it's an existing opening in a wall. So a pair of hatch lines over the top, clean opening, nice and simple. If it's a new opening that we're forming into that existing wall, we would want to represent it slightly differently. So if I go back to the object and say I want to switch on a label, the label is form opening. I want to show some hatching on the two sides. Let me show you that in practice. So we pop it down there, and there's our object. It places the hatching. The hatching indicates that building work is required to form that opening. The text is movable, so you can reposition it where you like. It also rotates automatically as you rotate the object and so on. Obviously stretchable. Now, if you were to try to, and this is how I would represent an opening and how most people represent a new opening in an existing wall. If you were to try to do that with standard ArchiCAD objects, you'd have a single object for the opening, which in itself takes a little bit of getting to because it means using a door tool and then switching off the door and frame and so on. You'd also need to then draw two lots of hatching either side and a piece of text. So it's three completely different tools to achieve this. In addition to that, three different tools means if you want to move it, you've got to move all of those elements. If you're deleting it, you're deleting all of those elements. If you're putting them on a renovation status to show that they're new, you've got to do that for all of those elements. And they're disparate elements, so you've got to maintain and manage that. So having them all in one smart object saves you an awful lot of time. In addition to that, it's a little bit more flexible. Let's say this is an enlargement of an opening rather than a new opening. So there's an opening there already, and we're just, let's say, enlarging it on one side. So the first thing you can do is obviously change the label to represent that. Enlarge opening, and we're now just showing the hatching on one side. So let's say we put it onto the right side, or left side, because we're looking at it the other way around here. So that's just enlarging the opening from that reveal which is existing, so it's showing that we're only having to work on one side of the opening, which is rather smart. Beyond that, let's say we were taking out a section of wall rather than just forming an opening. We could say remove wall, and now we only want a reveal line on the right hand side, and we can stretch that out to the end of the wall, and that's taken out the wall. And that could be a whole section of wall if we wished. So again, we've got a single object that, if you've got your renovation status set correctly, displays the right display if you're on a proposal and the right display if you're showing a survey object. Beyond that, the opening is parametric, so let's go back. Well, let's have a look at it in 3D to start with. So there's the opening. Sorry, I'd obviously been playing with that earlier. And if we come in here, we can make that object an arch. We can change the radius of the arch here. So the radius here is greater than the width of the opening, so it's going to create a keyhole shape. If we wish to, we can bring that back to 500 and make a proper arch. The arch could be of different shapes, so we've got a 3 radius arch. And as you can see, we can parametrically control the radius of the major radius and the minor radius. It could also be a filleted arch, so a horizontal top with 2 radius on it. So really nice flexible object. There you have it. That's a clean opening in an existing wall. Thank you.